Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Who Cares Anyway podcast. My name is Chris Dohmen. I'm your host. And in case you can't tell, for once, I'm actually not wearing my traditional Friday night garb of like a nice looking suit and a nice looking shirt and a tie and whatnot. Because, you know what? It's a certain weekend across the world. And Ryan McLellan, I think you know what weekend I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ryan?
Pretty sure it's called the weekend where I get drunk. No. My bad. It's a Star Wars celebration. Maybe
I think it is. I think it definitely is, Ryan. Kees, how you doing this weekend?
Star Wars. I thought it was Star Trek. Damn it. I was thinking I'm wearing the wrong clothes. No, I'm good. Yeah, Star Wars Celebration, Episode 9 trailer, Episode 9 title. I saw a great movie today. I have had a good day, so looking forward to the show.
Indeed. And last but not least, on the main panel, we have Nico Suave Rigoli. Nico, what's up, man? How have you been?
Celebrate Star Wars, come on! Oh, it's a good time, man. It's a good time. I watched the teaser like 6 times, and it wasn't even my fault. You can blame the Star Wars show 5-hour stream for doing that to me. But yeah,
no, we can blame you for actually watching it.
This is true.
True. But I learned a lot about it. I have like a full 1.5 pages worth of notes, so I'm excited for this discussion. But we shall get to that later.
We shall indeed. And guess what, guys? It's not just the 4 of us hanging out on this call tonight. We are blessed. We are honored to be joined tonight by our fellow Schmodown reactors. Who, you might ask? Well, it's nobody other than, honestly, the fact that, quick side tangent, the fact that these two were not nominated for Best Podcast / After Show of the Year last year is a fucking crime. So, please, welcome to the show, Robert and Chris Adams, a.k.a. the Cinefanatics. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on here. How you doing tonight?
Thank you for having us, and also thank you for that great compliment. I don't know how to respond yet.
Fair enough.
Some could say that we took their place.
Some could, and again, it's weird because, you know, who was here first? They were, by quite a few months. But
they could just expand the category like they did the Oscars.
They could.
That would be helpful for everybody.
Best Schmodown reactors.
I've said it many times. I don't know why we were even nominated. I'm just happy that we were. But yeah, I still don't really understand it.
Wow, Chris. Wow.
I mean, well, I was nominated 2 years in a row. I guess I'm just a good luck charm in that regard.
Yeah.
I would say for us, I mean, both of us we're just happy the fact that we were in the discussion for that. I mean, I didn't feel like we needed a nomination, but just the fact that when Christian was doing the poll, like, hey, name some of your favorite reactors or stuff, people were saying the Cinefanatics, and we're like, you know what, that works. We're reaching people. People are mentioning us, and we have no idea who they are.
Yes.
Dope.
And if I actually was on the MTS page, I would have voted for you. I personally choose not to be for my own personal reasons, so that's why. But
for your own personal health sometimes.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
That page sometimes is like...
Yeah, and to be fair, that's why I'm not in a lot of the other fan pages. It's like, and then I do get invitations to join some of those Schmodown fan pages, and I'm just like, no. Thank you for the invite, but no. But actually, since I got you guys here, like, real quick, talk me into what was it about doing reactions for the Schmodown that got you guys appealed, that got you guys interested?
I mean, as far as like what got us, why did we decide to do Schmodown reactions?
Yeah. What was the driving force?
Sorry, that was a weirdly phrased question.
I think a part of it just starts with how I got started, because out of the two of us, I was the one that found the Schmodown first. I was just hanging out like on a Friday night, and I was like, I wonder if YouTube has any kind of like movie trivia, something I could potentially play with. Like, I have friends or people around me. We're just looking for something to do that might be kind of fun, and here's something where I can kind of show off my movie knowledge to my friends or whatever. And then I stumble upon that. So I started watching that regularly. I showed it to my brother, and then he started watching it. So I was only watching the actual trivia part of it, the actual game. I didn't care about the storyline or anything. My brother here started watching the whole story part of it, and then he got me hooked on it as well. So then we thought, well, we're doing a movie channel. Why don't we do a reaction to the Schmodown and kind of help? Kind of the same thing. Let's show this movie knowledge and have some fun with this outside of just talking about movies, reviews, trailer reactions. Let's have fun.
It's partly a validation and loving movies, so that's part of the reason. Yeah,
that's awesome. Because like, I remember way back when I first started getting involved in Schmodown reactions, as well as Kees and Ryan, and that was. Well, okay. Admittedly, we kind of did just to be view whores, because when we were essentially running the first fan league, we just thought it was a great way to get good exposure. But as we kept doing it, it was great exposure. But as we kept doing it, we came to realize that we were so caught up in the storylines. We were so caught up in the players, and it was just something that really intrigued us and what we loved just watching every single week. So. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a way more organic way of coming across it than we did. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, and obviously, like every time you guys drop a new reaction, I have to watch and I have to leave a like, because I really do like you guys as reactors. And I'll be honest, if let's say a year or so from now, you guys make your team debut, I might be a little scared for whoever your opponent might be.
Yeah, that's flattering. That's super flattering.
I mean, sure, maybe I'm just being nice, but...
Nah, man, they're going to go in there. They're going to put motherfuckers on notice. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to be nice. That's not what it's about.
No. You know, and I'll be honest, I hope that there's a day where maybe, Robert, I know that you're also involved in the fan leagues, which... you know, Kees, Nico, and I are as well. I do hope that one day, maybe, you and me, one-on-one. Because I know you know your stuff.
Yeah.
By the way,
please,
Robert, I just want to ask you real quick. You did a jukebox match this past Monday, and it was the heads up. Right?
Let's not talk about that.
I don't want to talk about the performance. I just want to ask, who was your first opponent? Because he looked very familiar to me. And
my first opponent?
Yeah, the first opponent of that heads up match.
Oh, the very first. Of that particular video, or are you talking about in
of that particular video?
I think they had me partnered with Rob Clark, I believe.
His face, was he the guy who used to do videos where he would eat strange things like cotton balls and toilet paper? Because his face looks super familiar to this one YouTuber who used to eat cotton balls and toilet paper.
I don't know, but that's a good way to get some views. That's
drink.
That might be some decent content.
Geez.
I'm not kidding when I say this. His face genuinely reminded me of this one YouTuber who I found on one of True TV's World's Dumbest videos, and it was of a guy who was just eating toilet paper and cotton balls and things that a human being should not digest.
We need to look that up after the show, because
I think I'm going to, for better or for worse. I'm gonna look this up. This sounds hilarious. Geez. But yeah, no. So
for a plug for that, I guess real quick is we are doing the jukebox trivia again this coming Monday. It's me, Rob Clark, and David Jimenez. We're doing a Pink Floyd Iron Man match.
Hey, I know that name.
So that should be fairly good, because it seemed like all three of us are like, yeah, we know all about Pink Floyd. So
do you?
That's a lot to know.
The lunatic is in my hall, so you better run like hell, man, before I make you comfortably numb. But until... sorry.
Nice way of putting that.
Thank you.
Cheesy, but still well done, yes.
Thank you. No, I'm
satisfying.
I'm a Pink Floyd fan myself. The Wall is probably in my top 15 albums of all time.
Yeah. I saw, was it Roger Waters came to Austin doing The Wall? Nice. I think it was in 2012. A gorgeous concert, one of my favorites. So
I can imagine. So and then real quick before we get into the movie news, like I just want to ask you both, like what was it that then got you both into movies as a whole?
I think a lot of it's just growing up, just watching movies from a young age till now. I mean, it's just.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah, I guess, I was say he was almost starting to cut out, but luckily we got him there.
Yeah.
We do come from a big movie family. Especially our father really loved to watch movies all the time. Granted, it was like the same 5 movies over and over again, but he enjoyed movies all the time. So that kind of helped. And then I think a part of it comes, both of us kind of have, I don't want to call it, it's not, was it eidetic memory? Not like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, but we seem to retain this knowledge for some weird reason. Nice. I struggled in high school about stupid actual science or history type of stuff.
But you could tell me who was gonna be in Transformers the movie or something like that.
If that came out when I was in high school, thanks for aging me. But yes.
I was in high school when that came out, so I'm aging myself. But no, okay, and that's awesome, because even though sure, I look across YouTube and I see that there's hundreds of YouTubers who, if not thousands, who watch movies all the time and they're movies are their passion, but it just feels inauthentic until I get the chance to actually talk to them in person,
And I think that's kind of the struggle, I would say, that we've faced so far, still being a new YouTube channel, is there's a lot of the comments are all like, yeah, but we know this, that, and the other. And we're like, we call ourselves the Cinefanatics. We're fanatics of cinema. We know this stuff.
Yeah.
We know movie. And I think that's also a secondary reason why we're doing Schmodown reactions, because we can always use that as hey, if you're questioning our movie knowledge, watch one of these over here. Watch us play along and answer and react, and you're going to be like, okay, these guys might know something about movies. Maybe we don't need to be judging them on everything they do with it, so to speak.
Wait a minute. Wait. The internet judges people randomly for no apparent reason? No.
That doesn't sound accurate.
Not possible.
Twitter is a nice place where everyone gets along, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, people didn't quit their social media accounts simply because people were mean to them. No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. But least said about that, the better. As we dive on in to the movie news, let's start this off with something actually kind of interesting. So, we're all familiar with Jon Stewart and how, I guess politically charged might be the correct way of putting it, the nice way of putting it.
Actually, I have no idea who this guy is.
For crying out loud.
That's all right. No, it's all right. It's all right. He's European. He gets a free pass. So Jon Stewart, and for anybody who isn't familiar, Jon Stewart was on Comedy Central for years as part of the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, which is also where Stephen Colbert got his start. And they essentially did political news satire. And it was hilarious. It was funny. But now, and Jon Stewart has gone to do a couple of films here and there. Again, very politically charged, very pro-Democrat, very anti-Republican, which, hey, you know what? Whatever boats your float, man. But
Have any of y'all seen the back of a $20 bill?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Oh no.
I got that reference.
Okay, good.
I understood that reference. Well done, sir. Well done. But he's got his next film, which centers around Steve Carell, of all people, going up in a race for a mayor position against Chris Cooper, with Mackenzie Davis and Rose Byrne as sort of Carell's, political liaisons, his helpers. And I'm not gonna lie, this movie actually sounds kind of interesting. Robert, Chris, do you have any thoughts about Jon Stewart coming back to the big screen with such a very interesting cast?
I don't know much. I haven't really seen much about this quite yet. I know that Mackenzie Davis is going to be in that next Terminator movie. So I don't know, between that and then doing like a political, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're like we have our finger on the pulse of like political movies, so to speak. I mean, I saw Vice, and that was probably about it.
And actually, and I think that's a fair point, is that I almost feel like this could be a version of Vice that's just not so dense and a little less long. Kees, I feel like that was sort of your thoughts on Vice. Would that sound accurate?
Vice was had an extremely messy screenplay for someone who has actually lived everything that was going on in that movie. I know a lot about it simply because my mother was very involved with it. I thought it was very messy, and there were a lot of things that could be just improved besides performances. But I'm usually not the one for political stuff. I don't give a rat's ass about it, really. So Mackenzie Davis was good in The Martian and Blade Runner, I guess. That's all I have to say. Really, I don't care. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's why I wanted to get to you before I got to two of the more politically savvy minds of the panel. Hi, Nico. How are you?
Okay, so my thoughts on this are, so it's listed as a political comedy, but the thing about this is that Steve Carell is proven to be one of those actors that can do both comedy and drama really well. And Jon Stewart, there have been a lot of times where the segments he would do on his show would take a dramatic turn depending on the severity of the situation and the emphasis he wanted to put on the point he was trying to make. So I feel like while this is going to be a political comedy, it will have a lot of heart to it, and there will be a very serious message underneath all the ha-has. And Jon Stewart, just as a political commentator, there's an interview that he did a couple of years back that was really interesting to me, and he said the fact that I'm listened to more than actual news media just shows how bad that the news media has gotten, and it should cause them to want to raise their standards. So so Jon Stewart, despite being a comedian, he's got his finger on the pulse of a lot of political issues, and he understands that it's very important in this day and age to have well-educated journalists out there giving you the news, giving you the sides of the story and how it's going to affect the everyday working person. And it'll be interesting to see how this movie tackles that, if at all, because a mayor position, it's different from a state legislator or a federal legislator. Like you really know who the people are that you're talking to when you are the mayor, because the environment is a lot smaller than just a giant state or the entire country as a whole.
That was about 2 minutes longer than I was expecting for an answer, but yes, thank you for the insight. Well said. Well said. Ryan, what are your thoughts before we move on?
It's not for me, but just because I really don't watch many political movies at all, because this is not what I care about. I care about, real politics, and when I watch a movie, I want to escape. It's escapism for me. That's why I like sci-fi and fantasy and
Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just really not for me. But I mean, if the trailer looks good, I'll still watch it. I'll watch any movie with the trailer. It looks good. So that's what I'll wait to see. Yeah, there's a good cast, and I really don't know Jon Stewart as a filmmaker, but if it has a good trailer, who knows?
And you want to know something? That's kind of where I'm at, because I rarely watched his show, just because if I want to watch the news, I want to watch real news. I don't want to watch the news done with a satirical angle to it. But yet, Jon Stewart is one of those minds where when he truly is passionate about something, he'll put his heart and soul into it. And that's something that you have to admire no matter what. So, we'll see. When the trailer comes out, I'll make my decision from there, and hopefully it'll be good. But I'm looking at the chat, and I'm actually seeing a few familiar names. Star Drew, they're on 2K5. Jonathan Peck, always great to see you guys. And please let us know your thoughts on some of these stories that we're talking about. For example, Kees, I might be coming to visit your part of the world next year because
Please. Would be nice.
That would be nice because A, I would love to hang out with you, but B, you and I could go take a little visit to Germany to go see what is going to be the world's largest IMAX screen. Now, granted, this is just something for me. This is just something for me that I wanted to put in there, just because, like, I love going to the movies. I love going to the movie theaters. But picture this, people: an IMAX screen that I gotta make sure I get this, I get these dimensions right. 38 meters wide, so looking at roughly 120-ish feet across by 20.
For those of us that like our quarter pounders.
Yes, that
125 feet.
Yeah. So you already did that for me. Perfect. Thank you, Robert. But yeah, could this screen be any effing bigger? Kees, come on. How awesome would this be?
We are so going to see whatever movie is playing in that theater, even if it's a goddamn stupid Transformers Michael Bay movie. I just want to see the screen because I've loved IMAX ever since I was introduced to it a couple of years ago. That I realized back then I lived close to an IMAX screen, so I could just go there for any screening, and I did. Whatever movie would come out there, as long as I was slightly interested in it, I would go. And actually, for Avengers Endgame, we are planning to see that in IMAX. We are actually going to travel to Amsterdam, which is a 2-hour train ride, but it will be worth it. So, yeah, that will be pretty fucking awesome to see how that screen will be. So yeah, I'll invite you over here. We'll go to Germany.
Perfect.
We'll get some beers and we'll watch a movie.
Yes.
Then open invite.
I was about to say, you know what? And here's the thing. You know what? Chris, you hear about this. Would you not want to come with if you got the open invite?
Oh man, I've had a couple experiences with IMAX screens. Real quick story. First trip I ever made to LA, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy at the Chinese Theater. Nice. And at that time, I thought that was like one of the largest IMAX screens. I thought it was like the biggest, but there might be another one. I can't remember.
I would have to double check that, but it's one of the biggest, that's for sure. Robert, what are your thoughts?
So we do actually have an official IMAX, not the LIMAX that your casual theaters have. We do have an official IMAX here in Austin. It is a Texas history museum that's downtown. I've only been there once, and I went there with my brother and our father to go see The Dark Knight. And that screen is just way too big. Like, just there's so much you have to take in that you literally are watching a movie by staring over here, and then you might have to pan in your seat all the way to the other side. The one that my brother here also isn't mentioning is what was it? You were in, was it high school or middle school?
Yeah.
You took a field trip there, and it was the history of flight. I think it was, so a bunch of fighter jets like the Blue Angels flying in the sky on this giant IMAX screen, and I'm sitting here thinking, nope.
Oh, that was fun. That was
great. I am not gonna watch that.
Love that.
So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
no, I mean, the size of the screen sounds extremely impressive and great and all, but no, too big. There is a limit to how big I want my screens. That's too big.
Maybe fair enough. Fair enough. Ryan, you wanna come join me and go halfway across the world to go see the biggest screen ever?
I'm down. All I'm saying is my goal for a while now has been to be stationed in Germany after I graduate and get my commission. So if I end up there, that's just the cherry on top.
This is true. Nico, you want to come join the party?
So if I do end up joining that party, I'm going to sit in the farthest seat back in that theater, and if I still have to strain my eyes to see the entire screen, I'm busting a hole in the wall and sitting in that hole just to make
He's sitting in the projector room, just like sipping on his drink.
Yes.
Listen. I have my local mall has an IMAX theater as well. Granted, it's just one IMAX screen and the rest are just regular theaters, but still, we have an IMAX, and it's big. And I every time I go there, whether it's 2D or 3D, I feel like my eyes have had to strain themselves to see everything going on the screen. So so bigger isn't always better. Get your head out of the gutter when I say that, but bigger isn't always better. And you know, if I do have to see a movie on that particular screen in Germany, which I could probably go to depending on whether or not my one friend who had a German girlfriend still has a way to get to Germany cheaply.
I live close to the German border. Come here.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We'll all just take we'll just take a nice little trip. We'll go visit Kees, and we'll just bring him with us. You know, we'll do what Roka and his buddies do every Comic-Con.
There you go.
There we go. So
well, it sounds like y'all go see a movie. It sounds like me and Nico are probably just gonna find a good German bar and pick up a couple of beer steins full of something or another.
I'm glad you caught yourself there before any of us got in trouble. So I appreciate that.
We're gonna go pick up Frau. I don't know.
To drink a couple of beers in a German bar, I wouldn't mind.
That's true. Neither would I, especially if it's real German beer. None of this, American piss water crap. Because, Ryan, I'm sorry. You know I love America, but American beer can kiss my ass.
So we need to play a clip from Beer Fest in here where the Germans are making fun of the Americans and their beer.
Okay.
Sounds appropriate.
All right. Side note, literally, my manager at work today and we talked for about 20 minutes about Beer Fest. It was kind of great.
Nice.
So,
it's a great way to get out of doing work.
It is a great way to get out of doing work. Just talk about Beer Fest. Kids, take notes. Anyway, speaking of kids and history lessons, let's take you back to the 1970s. When a little TV show called Charlie's Angels first came onto our screens, and we were all just like, ooh, who are these awesome babes?
These segues are on point.
Thank you. And not at all. No. I see that's the thing. I don't even try. I do not even try. I just do. So, to be fair, at least by the Yoda rule, I'm succeeding. But after that show, there was attempted reboot, didn't work. Then with 2000, we got this, these two movies, Charlie's Angels and Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, with Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu.
One sucked.
One was fine, one sucked. And McG, you just didn't know what the hell you were doing. But to be fair, when does McG ever know what he's doing? In my personal opinion, of course.
Shots fired.
But now we're coming back at one more time from the visionary mind of Pitch Perfect 2. Yay! Elizabeth Banks, who will be directing and co-starring in Charlie's Angels. We got some first images, but despite a promising cast, I honestly don't have that many thoughts about if it's actually going to succeed. And I just wanted to get this out there to be like, movie, I know what you're trying to do, but you got to impress me. You really do. Did anybody have any thoughts before I move on to the next story?
I just want to say that I like Charlie's Angels the best when it was an animated show called Totally Spice.
Thank you. Because that was actually a good show.
This movie would have a large uphill battle to climb for me to be interested in it. All I've seen is that image, and obviously I'm going to wait for a trailer, but for the most part, I don't know.
So, I mean, this one's being done by Elizabeth. I believe Elizabeth Banks is actually directing this one.
Yep.
And she's also starring in it as Bosley, or one of the Bosleys, apparently.
Which, yeah.
I mean...
Wait, Elizabeth Banks, isn't she the one who plays J. Jonah Jameson's secretary in Spider-Man?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Rita Repulsa in the Power Rangers.
That's really weird that that's what you thought of, but yeah.
Because I know her from that role.
I know.
I love the Spider-Man movies.
It was just funny.
So, I mean, I believe she also directed Pitch Perfect 2, which that one really wasn't that bad as far as a sequel to an a cappella group. So I think she's got the ability to direct a movie. Also
she's just untested in action, and that's just where I'm personally worried, because it's like, say what you will about the quality of those two Charlie's Angels films, the action was still competently shot. Sure, I gave McGee a little shit, but I just don't really think he knows how to direct actors. But he knows how to direct action, and I'll never take that away from him. So, and sorry to cut you off there, Robert. Did you have a final thought on that?
No.
Okay.
That was it.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. And speaking of sequels and prequels that nobody's asking for, gentlemen, I have a question across the board. Does anybody here actually like the 1978 movie Grease?
I have
one good song.
I have not seen it, but I do actually know someone who was in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
AKA.
Who?
I think I've seen it. I'm not entirely sure. I get the movie is not bad, I think.
No, and the thing is, it's not terrible, but it is super 70s.
Yeah.
Which makes me...
Okay, go back to the 70s.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's 50s done in the 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, but it feels very 70s. It's
in terms of structure, screenplay, acting, yes.
Pants.
But, yes.
Hair.
But...
the actor's name was Barry Pearl, by the way.
You know him?
Yeah, I've met Barry Pearl. Actually,
who did he play in Grease?
Who did he play in Grease?
Super random.
Duty. He played Duty.
Duty?
Duty means poo.
D-O-O-D-Y. D-O-O-D-Y.
I believe that may have been one of the three guys that hung out with Danny.
Yeah, I think that was one of the T-Birds.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Interesting.
But so why do we have to make a prequel that we already got in a prequel that's basically an extension of the first 10 minutes of the movie? A full entire movie based on that whole thing that we got an entire song about, summer loving happens so fast. We don't need a fucking movie about this, Hollywood. Are you that broke for ideas?
Starbucks is still in business, right?
Yes.
Ugg boots are still in business, right?
Here we go.
Not really.
White girls still exist, right? This has an audience.
Are we talking about the movie or
the movie? White girls will go see this movie. I promise you, in droves. It's not for any of us on this panel.
No.
Barely need to bring it up, but I promise you, it will be packed with white girls from ages probably 25 to 65.
Chris, I have a very important question for you. Do you remember the quote from the Tom and Jerry movie?
But we've got to have money.
And that's exactly why this movie is happening.
So
yes.
So I actually really like Grease. I do like musicals. That is probably one of my favorites, just because it's ultimately classic. It's probably one of the first major musicals that almost anyone who enjoys movies gets introduced to. the thing I like to point out, and I don't know if y'all are familiar, but if y'all have heard of this supposed like internet rumor that at the beginning of it, during that song Summer Lovin', supposedly the story is about how Danny Zuko died.
I thought it was that Sandy died.
Was it Sandy who died?
Yeah,
someone died because the part of the song that he sings is that she nearly drowned. So yeah, I guess it is Sandy that died. So basically, we're talking about potentially a prequel movie about how she died and he failed to save her. Yeah, I'll watch that.
Chappaquiddick Part 2.
That might be an interesting movie.
But see though, that's what simultaneously worries me, but could potentially excite me. Because like, if we're given the kind of movie where we clearly see, oh, this is all done meta, it's done tongue firmly in cheek, then maybe it could work. But if that's the reason this movie exists, why?
Wait, so the thing that we're focusing on is a part where a girl almost drowned?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Anyway.
That's the part of
No. I have a point with this. So, Chris, what if that girl almost drowned because Jason dragged her down?
Crossover! Yes!
Crossover!
Yes!
God.
I know how to.
How many news stories do we have? And this is what we're talking about.
All right.
I think you vacation in Australia, not Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah,
Exactly. Just change it up.
Just for the fuck of it, let's change it up. But yeah, okay. So, moving on to the next story. Now, a couple weeks back, I very vividly remember talking for a little bit about how I was a little upset with Mr. Steven Spielberg over some of his thoughts regarding the whole Netflix debacle and whatnot. Yeah, say Case, that's worthy of taking a drink to. I'd join you. You know what? Fuck it.
Yep.
But now Netflix wants to make it interesting. They want to even the playing field. So they're currently in talks to buy The Egyptian, which is one of the biggest, most well-known theaters in LA. Same guy who designed the Grauman's Chinese Theater also designed The Egyptian. So if Netflix does this, they have a little bit more legitimacy in the eyes of the Academy. So this is essentially them being like, "Hey, Steven Spielberg." And Ryan, what are your thoughts on Netflix pulling a fast one here by doing this?
Is this why they're raising the price of my subscription? To pay for a theater?
Yeah.
Because I don't give a crap about a fucking theater. I don't need you to buy a theater. Just make shit. Don't worry about what Steven Spielberg says. He's old. He'll be gone soon. Ignore him. Like, literally, it doesn't matter. Just do what you do. Don't buy a theater. It makes no sense. I don't get it. Who cares? It's a historic theater. It should not be owned by Netflix. I mean, yes, capitalism is great, so go for it if you really want to buy it. I mean, no one's going to stop you. But it's just like, dude, really? That's why you're raising my subscription price, is to pay for a fucking theater out of all the things you could be doing. That's what you're doing. Okay? All right.
Ryan, never change. Nico, what are your thoughts?
So I feel like I'm having a Bill Engvall from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour moment where he's just like, "Here's your sign," because this is just like dropping your schlong on the table in response to Steven Spielberg. That's where this has gone. Like, this is a baller move. This is a serious baller move, and I can't really think of any other way to describe it.
What did I walk out and walk back in on? I go to put my glass, and
I was about to say, it's a good thing you got a drink.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know. Although, unfortunately, your brother was here for that conversation. Chris, what are your thoughts on Netflix?
Honestly, I think it's an interesting power move. I mean, you see after they're making their waves with Roma, at the Oscars. You know, it's interesting. The thing I take away from this is it's kind of an interesting dynamic considering the partnership that Spielberg now has with Apple and their streaming service, and who knows what was going on there. But you know, it's all kind of interesting to me with Netflix. You know, they're trying to legitimize themselves by being able to have their own theater that they can do theatrical runs of their movies in, I guess. But yeah, interesting.
Fair enough. And I see Brian Nussbaum and the cool guy, other normals, regulars in the chat. Always great to see you guys. And you know what, Brian? I really should start bringing up that Cat in the Hat scene a little more often, where, you know, during the middle of that stupid ride, Cat in the Hat literally stops the movie and just goes, cha-ching! Then proceeds with the ride. But
most underrated Mike Myers performance ever.
See, that's one of the reasons why I'm glad we're still a new YouTube channel, is the fact that we still get the option of like, nah, I'm just not gonna watch that.
Yeah. And Chris, I should clarify. I only mean for the gifs. That's all I mean.
Okay. So it's the most gifable performance of his career. I agree with that. 100%.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I don't know, Love Guru is pretty high up there too.
Oof. But to be fair, I would say Cat in the Hat makes Love Guru look like a dirty hoe.
Nice.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next news story before we.
No, you skip me.
Yeah, you don't get an opinion.
Sorry, Kees. Please.
No,
actually, no, legit.
What I think is that Netflix buying a theater is completely against what they are. Netflix is supposed to be a streaming service for people around the world. And the fact that they have actually gotten movies nominated for Oscars, movies winning Oscars, shows that people do give a shit about Netflix. So if some overrated tool like Steven Spielberg makes the comment of like, oh, Netflix is not, it's not in the theater, so it's not. Like, who gives a crap? If the people who watch Netflix and give a shit about Netflix and actually recognize that Netflix actually makes good movies, praise them, and it gets your Oscar nominations money and everything. Why do you even care if one director who won 2 Oscars one time says something about it? I honestly don't know.
Because that one director is trying to take the Netflix's ability away to get their films nominated. So this is kind of them like securing. This is them trying to secure all their options.
I get that.
They're trying to legitimize it.
But to me, like, I know that they're trying to legitimize it, but I mean, Netflix is already pretty legitimate, and I honestly don't think that they should back away because one guy said something about it. I know Steven Spielberg is quite influential, but he was that like 20 years ago. These days, okay, he did Ready Player One and it was good. What else?
But you recognize that the Academy makes dumb decisions every year, so they could probably fall in.
Best popular vote, anybody?
So Netflix is essentially just trying to make sure that, like, if the Academy does something stupid, they have a security blanket in place.
And here's the thing: the Academy will do something stupid regardless.
Exactly.
So, this is them just basically being like, you know what? We're just gonna be one step ahead of you when you decide to be complete idiots.
And they need two theaters anyway, though. That's the stupid thing, is you need one showing in New York, one run in New York, and one run in LA. So they're only halfway there. So what? They're gonna raise prices again? Just come out with Stranger Things season 3 already. Fuck.
Please, can it just be July 4th so I can fucking watch Mike and Elle just be a thing? Is that too much to ask?
Myself in America, drink some beer, and watch Stranger Things.
Yes.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. God damn it. Anyway.
God.
Sorry. All right. You know.
That's how you really feel about that.
Gladly. All right. So moving on to we just got a couple stories before we go to break here. Now we all should have figured that even though Shazam only opened to about 160 worldwide first weekend, it's gonna make a lot of money. So it makes sense that a sequel is already in development. Fair?
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not to mention it's like the best reviewed DCEU film at this point. So
yes,
besides Wonder Woman.
Besides Wonder Woman, and it's
I've never heard of that movie.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I actually like it better than Wonder Woman.
Yikes.
David Thewlis is Ares.
Brian, okay. But no, like, so then, do we have any thoughts about excitement for Shazam 2, or do we just want?
I haven't even seen the first one. I am going to try and see the first one in the next couple of weeks whenever I have time for it, because I do think that this is more like the kind of movie that the DCU should make, considering their best movies, in my opinion, are Wonder Woman and Man of Steel. Why? Because they actually didn't think about setting up the rest of the universe or doing anything. Just make a good origin story, and it seems like Shazam is that. So I hope that they can continue with that with a Wonder Woman 2, which we're getting already, and a Shazam 2, which we're probably going to get. Well, you just said that we're going to get that. This is something that I should have done back in 2014, 2015, 2016. Man of Steel 2. What did they do? They gave us BVS, and it sucked. So it's like, if you have a good movie, build on that movie. Don't do all the weird stuff besides that. Just make sure that you can make one good movie, and when you have that movie, build on that. Do a sequel.
Yes.
So it seems okay, you know. Hopefully, this Shazam 2 will be successful, be good as well as the first one is.
As long as they get David Sandberg back.
Look, I will always be hesitant because it is the DCEU, and that has a very, very, very big, maybe, I don't know, I'm probably not sure, but it might be garbage kind of ring to it.
And to be fair, Case, when I watched it in the theater, I'm like, literally, I just had my fingers like this. I'm like, please don't suck, please don't suck, please don't suck. And then it winds up being the best one out of all of them. So
yeah.
You know, yeah. So just please, Henry Gayden, I trust you. You know what you're doing. Please be good. Anyway. Now let's move on to some Disney stuff that's coming pre-celebration and before we go to break. Disney Plus. We finally got a release date, November 12th this year, 2019. I'm excited. I'm obviously going to subscribe. It's not going to be a question. And do you want to know the best part is? I can afford the subscription. Why? The monthly price, believe it or not. And granted, I'm sure it'll go up in like 6 months or so after it comes out. But starting price, $6.99 a month. What?
I don't think it'll go up, to be honest with you, because I think when you're getting that much content for such low a price, the subscription rate is going to be so high that they won't need to bring the price up because they have so many people using the stream that they make their money back.
This is true.
Yeah. So it'll go up eventually, maybe not in 6 months, but yeah, I think a year or two it'll have to go up just to compete.
It's a good point if you think about it. If you think about just the fact that, you know, what does Disney have in benefit in comparison to like Netflix? Disney doesn't have to license out any of the stuff. It's all of their property at this point. So they're just making more money off stuff they already own. Whereas Netflix obviously has to pay distributor or whatever they have to pay out to the studio.
Netflix has to pay Disney for the Disney movies.
Yeah.
Very true.
The other thing I wouldn't be surprised on is this might be like a low introductory price to get all the Netflix people, the people who are okay with signing up for a streaming service. And once they feel like, because you know they're going to be watching the analytics of people, what they watch, how they watch it, when they watch it, how many people are actually subscribed. They're going to be watching those analytics. And when they see that number is going to start to plateau, that they've reached pretty much the pinnacle of what they're going to reach at that time without necessarily adding more content, guaranteed you probably see like anywhere from a 50 cent to $1 increase, which is not much for us. Say like if we were talking about that the price on this was $7.99, you would still probably be saying the same exact things.
Exactly.
I could afford this. This is doable. So keep in mind how many subscribers does Netflix have? Tens of millions or so. So how many people do you think are going to sign up for this Disney Plus? I mean, even if
every parent across the world.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's where they're gonna really get their money.
So
the family.
if they increase that by $1, even if they have like say just 10 million subscribers, every subscriber gets increased by $1. They just made $10 million in one day.
And
like that.
What's going to drive it too is what the original content is going forward. Yes, obviously for us nerds, the draw is The Mandalorian and some others,
and all 30 seasons of The Simpsons, because they're gonna have all the Fox stuff on there too. I mean,
sure.
Shit.
Oh yeah, they bought Fox.
I'll be able to turn on Disney Plus, pop on Die Hard, and I'll just be like, awesome.
Or Alien.
Yeah, but going forward, that's what's going to draw people. Just like with Netflix nowadays, once they plateaued, how did they start bringing people in? By creating way more original content. Hulu followed. Disney Plus is going to be the exact same way. When they're coming out with a new show that's Star Wars, Marvel, X-Men, anything that you can only get on Disney Plus, that's what's going to get people to sign up after that sort of plateau.
And don't be surprised if there's eventually like a bundle pack for Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. Now that they have a majority ownership of Hulu as well. Awesome. So like if you could get a bundle pack going for that, and you can get all three services for such a reasonable price, that's going to send Netflix even more on their toes.
I love it.
So does that mean that Netflix is gonna start like financing Fox News or something?
By the way, I do want to say, Nico, this is the start of what you are so afraid of in sci-fi movies, where there's an evil organization taking over everything, like in the Terminator.
Didn't you see the Simpsons little teaser about them going to the Disney Plus case? He's like, I for one welcome our corporate overlords, and that's exactly Disney are the corporate overlords, and it's amazing.
That's the one that everyone was quoting once the first news dropped that Fox was going to be bought by Disney. Yeah, everyone was quoting that Simpsons.
It was awesome.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God, yes. No, and like that's, and of course, big shock. I'm hook, line, and suckered in because I'm a Disney fan. I love their animated work. I love their live action work. I love Pixar. I love Star Wars. I love Marvel. Yeah, of course I'm going to subscribe, and I'm going to just eat it all up.
How do you feel about National Geographic? Because apparently that's also
hell yeah!
That's awesome,
dude.
Especially, I want
Jeff
some
Goldblum's gonna narrate it.
Yes!
Oh wow!
He literally. The show is he just picks an object, like any object, and he just talks about it. That's literally what the synopsis says: is Jeff Goldblum picks an object and talks about it. It's amazing.
And to Thrawn 2K5 in the chat, I absolutely love you. He's a Disney shell. And actually, Jonathan Peck, I love you as well, because apparently this is actually a thing, that there is going to be a show on Disney Plus called The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
That title.
Chris,
so good.
The world is such a magnificent place.
They missed a chance of calling it Life Finds a Way.
Exactly.
Yes! Life finds a way.
I almost I kind of want to see if this is the direction they're going. I want like Nat Geo after Christopher Walken. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we got these penguins, and they're off traveling because the mothers, after they give birth, are fishing. All right.
And,
I'm done.
And I will also throw out, they need to find that guy, I think his name was Randall, the one who did the Honey Badger video years ago. They need him to do a series of videos on Nat Geo about animals.
One last idea.
Wait. He needs to also do audio commentary for Disney movies, so he could be like, just like have him watch the most friendly Disney movies, and then he could be like, that character don't give a shit.
But no, Chris,
mice
please.
From Cinderella. Gus don't give a. Yeah. I mean,
one last idea, you get Patrick Warburton to do one also on his first episodes about squirrels.
Yes!
Squeak is speaking.
That would be awesome.
Oh my God. Yes. Okay. This is turning into one of my favorite conversations ever. So let's keep it. Please. because Disney Plus, you got a little explaining to do as we do our last story before we hit the break.
Oh no.
There's good names for good TV shows.
Oh no.
And then there's something that is just so stupid that I have to ask, what? WandaVision? Now, granted, it makes sense, but a stupid title is a stupid title nonetheless.
What's the title?
You mean like Rise of
WandaVision.
Skywalker?
Literally.
Hey.
Yeah. Well done.
Oh, wait, we'll talk about that in a bit. Never mind.
Well done.
Okay, I have to give you that.
Well done. But yeah, no. So the upcoming Scarlet Witch show, that's going to chronicle the events of her and Vision between the time of Captain America: Civil War and Avengers: Infinity War, is literally called WandaVision. It sounds like
Like an infomercial.
Exactly. And now see it in WandaVision. Look, Disney Plus, you're coming with The Mandalorian, and I'm going to love you for that because the first live-action Star Wars show ever made, yes, please. And I'm excited for Loki. I'm excited for this show, but it has the worst fucking title ever. Somebody tell me I'm wrong, please.
I agree with you. I think there's two other titles they could have gone with. They could have gone with Scarlet Vision. They could have gone with The Vision and Scarlet Witch, like the comics.
So,
Touche.
Chris, I know you like to ship stuff. So essentially,
that's a horrible ship name.
Listen, it's the best they could do with what they had, but it's also like a little bit of a meta title in that we're getting to see that time period between Civil War and Infinity War. We're getting to see it through Wanda and Vision's eyes, hence the title of WandaVision. So like it's meta in a respectable way, in my opinion. And it's going to be a good show regardless.
Before I hang up to the next person, the cool guy in the chat says that the title sounds like it could be either a really bad Fairly Odd Parents spinoff or a really bad Wanda Sykes sitcom. I'm like, yeah. Yes. Ryan.
Damn it.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
The first thing I thought of is that it's supposed to be like some sort of play on how Vision in the comics talks, where he'll just say like Wanda Scarlet Witch, all one word. That's how he'll refer to her in some of the comics and other people as well. He just says like their full title all as one word. So that was the first thing I thought of, but it doesn't really make sense even if that's what they're going for, because that's not how he talks. Paul Bettany's version.
No.
And as far as what Nico was saying, that was the other thing that I thought of. I was like, okay, well maybe it's because it's like through her eyes, but at the same, it just doesn't, like you said, Chris, a bad title is a bad title. It just doesn't sound good. I don't hate it necessarily. It could have been worse, I guess, maybe, but it just makes no sense as far as like, yeah.
Robert?
This is really good.
Unlike that title, I can imagine.
It's getting better, yeah.
Fair enough. But no,
WandaVision sounds like we're gonna watch an entire show from like through her eyes,
like
literally.
Hardcore Henry.
Yeah, which I mean that was
actually that was a good movie, but
No,
that was good.
No, that was not.
Another argument for another time, perhaps.
Perhaps. And Kees, before we head off at a break, take us off.
I have no thoughts. Move on.
All right, fair enough.
Classic Dutch movie guy.
Classic Dutch movie guy move. That's why we love him. So yeah, guys, please talk amongst yourselves in the chat. I see there's like 10 of you, and I'm so happy to see you all there. Thank you so much for keeping the chat going. But yeah, we're gonna take a short break. We'll be back in about 4 minutes to talk about Star Wars Episode 9 trailer. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna have some fun, and we'll be right back. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly.
It's a good time for JTE to come back. I feel like he's got a win in store here. Plus, I heard he's working on promoting a new children's book he's writing. It's called Geppetto and the Jew Bear. So,
Yes. Oh, that's amazing.
so yeah, I'm going with the famed Ecuadorian film reviewer and scooter crash test dummy JTE.
Oh God. Okay, that wins the video. Nico, you just won the video. Irina, thoughts on this match?
You know, and we were talking off camera before we started, and I said that the Joker is one of the scariest characters in all of fiction.
True.
And
Just fine.
And I'm glad that this movie clearly recognizes that.
Yeah,
That makes me
I
very
like.
happy.
Yeah, I agree because I like how, I mean, I'd say like a lot of iterations of the Joker have tapped into some of the creepy weirdness here and there. I mean, even some more, I guess gimmicky isn't really the right word, but like Jack Nicholson was a pretty silly iteration of the Joker, but still there were moments.
I mean, hell,
Right.
his introduction when he comes out the elevator is terrifying.
Right. And then you have, Heath Ledger. Wasn't really creepy. He was more of just like maniacal. And then Jared Leto, I'm not really sure what he was doing there. But it wasn't this, because I really like how the filmmakers and Joaquin are leaning into that sort of, there's a creepy something behind the Joker. We know he's not right in the head, but I don't know if I necessarily want to know exactly why. But if I'm going to have to watch it, this is what I would want it to look like, I guess I should say.
And here's the funny thing, though. I don't think they're going to say why.
Oh, man, I'm tearing up a little bit. I just got so many chills just now.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So I remember, and I think a lot of people probably had this, when you watch the original, just the opening of Circle of Life, the song ends with that pound and the Lion King logo right there. You get the chills with that.
Oh, yeah.
That is just an awe-inspiring opening.
Yeah.
And I pretty much felt those chills in various places and just in this trailer.
Yeah.
Just seeing these characters in live action.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's the thing. There's a lot of talk on the interwebs about, oh, you guys are just gonna get the same exact movie as you got before and you're eating it up. You sheep out there just eating whatever the Disney hand feeds you.
There were no sheep in that trailer.
Remaking and all this stuff. Why can't you?
There's sheep in Africa?
I'm making a point. Shut up.
April 13th, the odd couple, Jeff Snyder and Mark Andreyko, heading to Chicago.
Even though they're odd, they are capable of working together. You're a force to be reckoned with, and you can take it all the way.
Going up against Ben Bateman and Riley. Who's the boss for a shot to play for the team championship?
2019, we're getting a belt. That's the one goal I want.
I can't wait to beat Bateman again.
There's no way I'm going to get nervous on that stage. I was born to compete. I was born to perform.
Can anyone beat you?
And Mr. Alex Dohmen, Star Wars, explained himself, puts his title on the line, and it goes down during Star Wars Celebration.
This is just what I do all day, every day. It's hard to stump me. Riley's a legend, okay? He's on Mount Rushmore, and I'm lucky enough to play with somebody with class, a true champion who's taught me a lot about this game.
And I'm going to give him a show in Chicago. You can bet on that. Buy your tickets right now.
Get your tickets now, the schmodownlive.com. Just make sure you're there in person. You do not want to miss it.
And welcome back to the second half of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. And, okay, guys, I don't know if you're paying attention to the news or anything going on in the Midwest of the United States of America, but
no, what's going on?
There's this little convention down in the wonderful city of Chicago.
It's Star Trek.
It is Star Trek. Well done. Star Trek Discovery. Well done, Kees. No, of course.
Convention for Star Trek.
As actually, I think there was like some 2 million ticket sales reported for Star Trek Star Trek Con in Las Vegas this year, but yeah.
Con!
Star Trek Con!
They missed the opportunity to call it that too. I mean,
they really did. They really did. You know, but yeah, no. So Star Wars Celebration is happening right now, and they kicked off with the best possible fucking bang. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Okay, so let's just get this out of the way right now. To everybody who is not the hugest fan of the title, just say I. I
thought I did.
Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of this title. Also, like, I have the feeling that you're like, if you just don't really like the title that much. But I'm not the hugest fan of the title. I just think it's intriguing. I don't think it's bad.
And yeah. I only argue that it's bad as a final chapter of the Skywalker saga. That's where I think it's bad. But because, spoiler alert here, folks, I don't think it's the final chapter of the Skywalker saga, because if my prediction goes right, by the end of this movie, there will be one more generation. Heyo. But
one more generation of Skywalkers. Yes, we know.
Yes, big shock. I ship it.
Who doesn't?
Ryan, I don't think you ship Reylo, do you?
I just really don't care. I don't think it's gonna happen. I guess really, so I don't care enough to.
And I don't really ship her with anybody for the same reasons that we've kind of discussed with Frozen 2 and Ilsa. I just feel like she's a powerful character that doesn't really need to be in a relationship. Like she's her own person. Let her be her own person. And if she wants a relationship, that should be her decision to make. I don't think it needs to be an emphasis on her story.
Yes, Robert.
I don't want to knock Nico at all, because Nico's actually a pretty cool guy or whatever. But did we just compare Frozen to Star Wars? I mean,
yes.
Is this the panel I'm sitting on? I
mean, the main character of that movie
has, by the way.
No. And actually, that was well done. Well done, Robert.
Hey,
well done.
Let it go. Just let it go.
There you go.
Yes. Well done, Chris. But yeah, and again, Nico, it's funny to bring up that point, because granted, I don't think they need to either. But I'm just saying, if we are going to get episode 10, 11, 12 in like 10, 12 years from now, which
we will.
Let's just be real here for a moment here. We will.
The episodic Star Wars movies are too much of a money-making machine. There's no way you can say it's not happening.
Yeah. So, and that's why I just come up with the fun theory that, Rey and Kylo Ren are going to hook up. They're going to hook up just the one time, but it's the one time that's all it takes, because she will give birth literally and metaphorically to the new Jedi Order.
Hey, it took less than one time for Harry and Kanan to have a baby, so why not them?
Right? Am I right? Jesus. Filoni, I love you, but I will never get over that. I will never not be mad about that. Like, how in the hell that happened? Anyway, but yes. But let's just start breaking down just our initial thoughts on the actual trailer itself. Guys from the dear old Cinefanatics, I actually haven't had a chance to check out your reaction yet, because if I recall correctly, you were uploading it right as the show was starting. So,
in fact, I just finished it. I'm actually, as we're talking, I'm still working on putting up the social media link, so it's live now.
Well, go check it out, guys.
Yeah, no, those of y'all who are watching right now, wait till this is over and then go check it out. Yeah. Watch us right now, because we're live. It can wait.
It will be there.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. But yeah, we just got it up, posted. It's live now, so yeah.
Sweet.
I mean, you're gonna get a little preview here. I feel like it's safe to say we're both fairly emotional over this.
Nice.
it's a deep Star Wars is a deep thing. So I mean, there's a long time love for that series.
Both of us are big Star Wars fans. I mean, that was something like I would say even our parents. Like I remember when Episode 9 came out, we were at the point where my dad, or not Episode 9, Phantom Menace.
Episode 1. Nice.
Episode 1. Oh, that's right. It was the first one. That when Episode 1 came out, my dad woke me up before school, and we rushed to Walmart to go buy all the figures.
Nice.
Which I'm like, as a kid, and I like at that point, I spent most of my life collecting action figures and comic books. I understand the value of Star Wars figures, and I'm thinking this is the best day of my life. Of course, now I've got like boxes upon boxes of just useless, worthless battle droids and Jar Jar Binks. Thanks, Episode 1.
I mean, the battle droids aren't completely useless. You could still like make a fun recreation kind of thing, but fair enough.
But there's nothing quite like at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're at Walmart with all the other degenerates who are at Walmart at 6 o'clock in the morning, looking through all these toys, and then you realize that there's 4 different battle droids that all have 4 different like damage things on them, and you're like, wait, I've got to buy all these now too?
You don't gotta.
You don't have to, but you want.
No, you have to.
If you wish if you wish to be a true completionist, yes, that is how it works. You know, and that was again that was me the same exact way. Star Wars is literally some of my very first memories from when I was about 2-3 years old. My dad was awesome enough to show me the movies, and I've fallen in love with them since. You know, I mean, shit. I almost believe in Star Wars more than I believe in the Bible some days. Like that's how much I love this franchise.
I mean,
because, you know, some of the philosophies brought about in Star Wars are things that I actually can get behind. You know, because, like, you know, the whole Jedi teaching of there is no ignorance, there is knowledge. That's me. If I don't know about something, I'm going to inform myself about something. I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself. So that way, if I want to argue with somebody about it, I don't look like an ass. Ben Shapiro, what? Anyway. Sorry.
You look like an ass anyway, but who cares?
Yes. But no, Ryan, I know you gave us some brief thoughts in our Facebook chat, but come on, man. Talk to me. Talk to me about Episode 9. Talk to me about that trailer. What'd you think?
It looks fucking awesome. And I like the title. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, in the end, I guess, to me, it's just a title. You know, it really has no bearing. Obviously, if it was something obnoxious, then yeah, it's like Kylo Ren farts all, you know, for 2 hours straight, then that would be a different
The Return
title.
of Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, exactly. Some shit like that. That would be completely different. But
all of
for what
which
it
would have
is,
been better than The Last Jedi.
So, the movie or the title?
I'll let y'all decide.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, because I'm not a huge fan of the movie either for certain different reasons. But anyway, talking about Episode 9, I think that the trailer looks awesome. There's a TIE Interceptor in it, which is my favorite Star Wars ship, basically, of ever. And it looks badass. Kylo gets his helmet back, which is one of my favorite helmets besides Darth Vader's in Star Wars. So, yes, actually, I'm very excited for that. And
hey, we say about people's glasses.
I used to. And I got lasers put in my eye like Star Wars or some shit. I don't know. It's basically very cool. Anyway, also, it looks like he stabs a Knight of Ren using the crossguard. That was cool. So, yeah.
Wait. Okay, so that's how you interpreted that moment.
Yeah, it looks like, to me, it looks like my sister and I were talking about it, and we think it looks like a Knight of Ren that he's stabbing into, with stormtroopers like going with him. So I'm assuming he's doing something. That's what, honestly, if I can say a short theory, or are we waiting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Short theory is that the Rise of Skywalker is Kylo Ren, and basically it's his rise to power. I think he's going to. This isn't actually what I think is going to happen, but if I were to theorize, I think that he will become a Sith in his own right, sort of like old type of Sith, not like Palpatine type of Sith, but maybe with some Palpatine influence. I'm not really sure how that would work into it, but basically I think it's him coming into his own as a leader of the dark side, but not just the Snoke, sort of libertarian, we're going to do the thing without going for the thing fully. No, I think he's going to go whole hog. Yes, I'm a Sith. Yes, I follow the Sith mentality. And he's going to kill that old part of himself. The past, let it die. The Knights of Ren, that was his childhood gang. Now he's starting his own empire, basically. So that's sort of the gist that I feel. But honestly, who knows? And I should say, seeing the Death Star, I feel like they're going there to get something for some reason or another. Possibly the Emperor's body or something creepy like that. That would be interesting. And also, there's a TIE interceptor, which is obviously Empire-era technology. So something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Nico. Since, again, somebody decided to not show up on the reaction.
I saw the trailer like 5 times at that point. And
yeah, you shouldn't have watched the damn panel.
He had no, self-control whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Nope.
Yeah. But basically, to just go off of what Ryan mentioned, Kylo Ren is holding his saber in a reverse grip in that particular scene, which is, we know from Episode 7 that Kylo was really trying to be a lot like his grandfather. Then in Episode 8, Snoke tells him, try to be yourself, find your own individual self. And now I think he's found that happy medium here in Episode 9, in which he's sort of taking a page out of the apprentices of his grandfather. Because Ahsoka Tano, she's known for holding her lightsabers in a reverse grip. And to go to Legends, Starkiller / Galen Merrick, he was known for holding his lightsabers in a reverse grip. So it's a regular trait of the people who have.
Canon.
But still,
we're getting sweaty today, boys.
And
but
plus,
still,
excuse me, sir, it's Galen Merrick. How dare you?
but still,
Galen Erso.
But still, it's a regular trait of followers of Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader in the past. And so I feel like if Episode 7, they had characters going one way, and Episode 8 the characters trying to go another way, this is where we're going to find the happy medium of a lot of things. Like, for example, to do some parallels with the original trilogy, Episode 4, Luke was told by Obi-Wan that Anakin was his father, and Darth Vader killed Anakin Skywalker. Episode 5, Darth Vader tells Luke, I am Anakin Skywalker, I am your father. In Episode 6, that's where Luke is told that nobody was really lying to him. Both people were telling
from a certain point of view.
Yes, from a certain point of view. And so now, going into the sequel trilogy, Episode 7, the Skywalker lightsaber calls out to Rey. She's tremendously powerful with the Force. So we have that theory in our mind that she's related to someone who's powerful in the Force, much like Luke was. Let me finish my
Let him finish.
Episode 8, Kylo Ren then drops the opposite of the Episode 5, I am your father bombshell. Instead, he does a reverse bombshell on Rey and says, your parents were just junkies who abandoned you in the desert for their next fix. So I feel like in Episode 9, as a parallel to what we got in Episode 6, we're going to find out that nobody was really lying to Rey. Everyone was telling the truth. It's just a matter of how you see it. Like, maybe Rey is still somehow related to someone who's powerful with the Force, and those junkies that Kylo was talking about are just the Aunt Beru, Uncle Owen figures that were just really terrible to her. Maybe this is where we find out that she's sort of an X-23-like character who was cloned from Luke's hand, or maybe she's even more so like a Superboy-style figure in which she was cloned and also created from the dark side powers of a dark side Force user, much like how Superboy was a clone of Superman, but also there's some Lex Luthor DNA in there. And that's
Nuclear Man?
That's weird.
Oh,
I like
no.
it.
that too.
And then we get to the title of The Rise of Skywalker. Ryan could be right in his theory, but then there's also the possibility of, maybe Rey is a Skywalker in some way, shape, or form, or maybe she takes on the Skywalker last name because she doesn't have a last name, which is kind of strange, but still, maybe she takes that on, or maybe when maybe the Jedi, this is where they go away, and in replacement of it is the Skywalker Order, the Skywalker Knights. Maybe that's where we go with it.
Okay, so that's not half bad. Although Thrawn 2K5 brings up an interesting thing about that, where think of Skywalker as sort of like this universe's version of being called an avatar. Which, yes, I'm referring to the wonderful animated show where, think about it like that way, where if you are the next great Force user, you are the Skywalker. If you're the master of the light and the dark side of the Force, you are just the Skywalker. Simple as that.
Sounds like the Taron Egerton Robin Hood, and I don't like that.
Oh, Ryan!
That's all I can think of.
How dare you, sir?
Skywalker is a surname. Shmi Skywalker is a surname. Like, that was her surname. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So now you're saying, because that's like calling another great president like, he's like Abraham Lincoln. Like, well, no, but he's somebody else.
He's the next Lincoln, or the next Kennedy, something like that. Fair enough. Although, and yes, sorry, Chris. I haven't really given you a chance to speak yet. Real quick, man? What were your initial thoughts on the teaser?
So as far as I like, first of all, like I said, super emotional. The covering over a couple of different bases here. The title, I'm okay with it. One of the things I'm kind of excited about is we've had an entire series of movies now, and it's odd that just now we're getting Skywalker in one of the titles, even though it's been the main characters throughout this entire series. So there's that. There's I am really interested in seeing what direction they go with Rey as well, and I like the idea. I kind of like the idea of Skywalker replacing Jedi, basically, as the term for these Force users. It's weird that I think that, though, because at the same vein, like, you can just hand that name over. It can become just a name that people take on. But that's one of the reasons why I hated Solo, because I hated that they just tossed the Solo name at him. And it's literally, like, I honestly, like, just to get off on a little Solo tangent real quick. I saw that scene and I was like, wait, they just made up Solo for him? Why couldn't the reason his last name have been Solo been because his dad's last name was Solo?
Great Gatsby, Jake Gatsby. Yeah, you got to think of it like that, because Jake Gatsby was a character, a persona that person gave upon to himself, and he used that name to create the persona that he wanted to be, not the person that he was. And in a sense, Han is trying to find who he is. And so when this ridiculous name of Solo is just put upon him by this random Imperial douchebag, he's like, I'm going to take it and use it and try and make this name into the person that I want to be.
I've never agreed with Nico more than basically just what he said. That was
and shit, to go outside the franchise, why does Strider have to call himself Strider?
Yeah,
He's got like 5 other names. Aragorn, son of Arathorn. Estelle, meaning hope. Aelisair. The next in line. Exactly. So why does he call himself Strider?
I didn't know he had more than 2.
Yeah, he's got a gajillion in every language, basically.
Pretty much.
And the other thing is, I actually have a friend who's in the ROTC program he's from Eastern Europe, and he's an orphan. So on his name tape, he has Snow, like Jon Snow.
Nice.
He was able to pick his own name, and he was like, dude, how badass would it be if I was just Eric Snow?
So he's a bastard from the north. Awesome.
Well, he's not a bastard. He's an orphan.
No, with that name, like, come on.
So, I mean, if I were to touch a little bit, like, what as far as like based on this trailer, what are my expectations like for this movie? I don't really have a whole lot of expectations. My whole thing with this trilogy has been wait till the final movie to judge the entire trilogy as a whole, regardless of what problems I have with Force Awakens or The Last Jedi.
Thank you.
But I mean, for me, it's been because I grew up with both the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, so I have a love for basically all Star Wars, and this trilogy so far to me has kind of been more like how the prequels were for some people, and that I'm not super enthusiastic about it, but it's still Star Wars, so I'm going to watch it and I'm going to find stuff to enjoy about it. But yeah, I mean, the trailers got me excited, and still, again, holding off all judgment for the trilogy until after I see The Rise of Skywalker.
Awesome. And that's, well, obviously I'm the exact same way because, you know, and I took that love one step further because I played literally all the video games. I read pretty much all the books. I watched all the cartoons. Yes, and this was Legends, and it doesn't count anymore because George Lucas never said it was canon in the first place.
Are you counting the pod racing game?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, that was the best. Pod Racer.
All the games, but it's just
was the best.
Legends.
Yeah.
The best was when you could get the Pod Racer game for free by pre-ordering Battlefront 2, because I definitely have that.
That's
awesome.
What?
It's actually it's on my brother's PlayStation technically, but yeah, we have it. It's in the family. And he has the old AT-AT game. It doesn't work very well. The port for that one doesn't work very well, but yeah.
Well,
exist.
fuck you too.
The Pod Racer one works really well though. It's awesome.
That's awesome. Seriously, dude, that's great. You know, but yeah. Speaking of your expectations, then Ryan, honestly, do you have any expectations, and how do you expect them to be met?
My expectation is that they're, and this is just kind of predicated a little bit on the knowledge that Bob Iger came out and said that it's gonna be a while after Episode 9 before we see another Star Wars film. So I think their mentality is take things slower. Let's figure out what we're gonna do, and you know, all due respect to Rian Johnson, but a plan should have been made.
Yes.
I don't see, like, George Lucas literally spent so much time planning out the original trilogy and just like making it this whole great thing, and no, he did.
No.
Listen, George Lucas.
Okay. Well, hold on. For the overall story, yes, he did. The little details, not so much.
Obviously not. Have you ever written an outline for anything? No, he did not write the entire thing straight. Not you, Chris. I'm just mad at the thought because I love Star Wars. I'm sorry. I went over the top. That's my bad. But yes, George Lucas has said and a gajillion million billion times that he has the paper scans of outlines. They're out there on the internet, not the entirety, but paper scans are out there of some of his outlines for the original trilogy. And they're obviously very different. Back when it was
Luke Star Killer and Han Solo was a green-skinned alien with gills.
And all of that. Yeah, exactly. And yes, so many things go over changes over time. I mean, Star Wars didn't become Star Wars until it was in the editing room anyway. There's an amazing video. I believe it's Rocket Jump or someone.
Yeah.
That talks of Rocket Jump, who talks about how Star Wars was made in the edit, and it's incredible. So
please, guys, go check that out.
Yeah.
Once the show is done.
It's one of the best videos I've ever seen on YouTube. It's so awesome. It's like, that just shows you like Star Wars is genius, and it's like an amalgamation. It's a group effort, and I'm sorry, as amazing as both JJ and what's his face, Rian Johnson are, that's not a group effort. They talked a little bit. You get the feeling. I mean, I wasn't there, obviously, so maybe they spent a million hours together. I really have no idea, but it doesn't feel like it. It does not feel like a cohesive plan. So, you know, you look at The Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit even isn't that great, but at least it's cohesive, and it makes sense in order because it was the same guy throughout the whole thing.
Exactly. They stink because they all just flow the same shit stream.
Or The Matrix. That makes zero sense, but at least it goes from A to B. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, again, it is what it is, but my expectation is they're going to do some crowd control on, hey, we're going to get in here, we're going to finish out the story, we're going to do our best to wrap it up in a makes sense, goes along with what JJ probably originally thought when he first did it. I'm disappointed personally that we didn't get Colin Trevorrow's look because I was excited for that. But I also understand why, he went his own way, and that's fine, Fleetwood Mac and all. But I just think that really they're going to scale things back a little, really finish strong as best as they can. And then, we're just not going to hear anything besides The Mandalorian. And then I would give it 2 or 3 years before we actually are in theaters again.
Well, I mean, we'll have a movie by 2021 at the very latest.
Yeah.
But it will not be Skywalker related.
No,
right. I'm saying
that's okay.
Numbered sequel. Right. Number 10, I guess, X. Episode X. So
the one with all the sex.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's JJ directing again, to be honest.
Oh no, he's not coming back after this one.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah.
Well, and granted, that's in my professional opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's hard to say no when they keep saying, "Hey, you want a couple $1 million for this one movie?" Yeah, sure, okay, why not?
Sure, why not?
But see, by then Disney's also going to own Star Trek. So then JJ will come and do the Star Trek, Star Wars crossover.
Yeah, Jean-Luc Picard and Rey on an adventure. Okay, hold on. What if?
Wait. Okay, hold on.
Now we need Star Wars. What if?
Rey is the child of Deanna Troi and Will Riker. Bam!
Yes.
Wow, this just hit a whole new level of nerd.
William Shatner and the thing on the wing of the plane.
Yeah. Yes, Ryan. Yes, and
even has the hairdo.
There's something on the plane.
There's something on the plane.
The William Shatner Goblin, or the one that was in the movie with John Lithgow?
Yeah, the original, the one with this thing right here.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Can I go?
Yeah, I was going to say, yes, Kees, I was about to throw it to you.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so as probably the biggest fan of the sequel trilogy so far on this entire panel, because I don't care what anyone says, fuck you guys, these 2 movies that we've had are awesome, both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
I'm with Kees on this. I'm with Kees on this, by the way.
I'm with you on this. I just come at it from a critical perspective because I'm an amateur critic.
I'm with you. I'm just not with you.
Okay, shut up and let me get to my point. Jesus Christ. Look, The Force Awakens is a great movie in and of itself, and so is The Last Jedi. And as a even bigger part of the Star Wars saga, it is even better. And I have absolutely loved these movies. I've seen them so many times already, and I will a lot more in the future. And it's because I love these new characters. Rey, Kylo Ren, Poe, BB-8. Just the characters that they've created in the sequel trilogy, and even the treatment of the original characters, I think is perfect. Luke, Han, and I can't wait to see Lando in the next episodes. Seriously, the moment that he showed up, I just shouted Lando because it was just so great to see him back again piloting the Falcon with Chewie. It's I want to see this. It's awesome. Now about episode 9. It was really overwhelming to see that trailer. There was so much in it that, first of all, answers stuff that I have, and at the same time, asks 10 more questions per little thing that I see in that trailer. Like, every little thing is like, what does this mean? What is Rey up to? What is Kylo up to? What is Poe up to? It's like, you get so many questions, and that's exactly what this teaser is supposed to do. It's supposed to raise questions, get you hyped, and it's like, you want to know what everything means. But, of course, you don't get that because you have to wait for the movie. Like, why did we hear the Emperor? What does that even mean? By the way, I don't want to hear anyone say that Rey is a Skywalker. She's not. Shut up. It was confirmed in The Last Jedi, and if you don't believe that, you're a stupid idiot. Okay, sorry, that's my opinion.
Okay, Simon Pegg, you fucking asshole.
Yeah, nothing's confirmed.
Yeah. It's pretty much confirmed in The Last Jedi that she's no one and that she's no Skywalker, so please just stop with it. Like, what I just hate about trailers like this is that afterwards I go on Facebook and I see all the stupid idiot fanboys with a million different theories that are all going to be wrong anyway. And that's exactly the reason why people hated The Last Jedi, or didn't like The Last Jedi, because they had millions of different fan theories that all didn't come true. Because guess what? It is not up to you. It is up to the filmmakers. Whatever you expect, fuck your opinions, fuck your expectations. It's not going to happen. It's what the filmmakers decide. And
exactly,
that's what but that's what I love. Look, that's what I love about these movies. I go in not knowing what anything means, not knowing if Rey was a Skywalker or not at the beginning, of course. I don't know what I see in the trailer, and I don't want to endlessly speculate on what I see in the trailer. I just want to see a trailer, see it a couple of times, think a little bit, and then be like, you know what? I think it might be this, but I am totally okay if I'm wrong, because seriously, if you think that you're absolutely right, and if it's wrong in the movie, then you're going to be disappointed, and then you're going to hate the movie, so like The Last Jedi, so those people exist. I'm just going to judge it by, okay, I think it might be this, but I'm probably wrong. And I just want to see what eventually the movie gives us. So hopefully, when I see the movie, I'll just be happy with what I see, and I probably will be considering the people behind the movie. The trailer was awesome. The trailer shows a lot of things that I'm like, I want to know what this is, but as I said, I want to see what it is in the movie. I don't want to endlessly speculate, come up with stupid theories that are never going to come true anyway, because then you get disappointed. So I cannot wait.
Well, that's because
I can't wait for December. That's it.
Well, and the thing is, sorry to cut you off, Ryan, because I know you wanted to hop in there too.
No,
but
that's okay.
There is a difference between speculating responsibly and just setting expectations that you know are not going to happen.
Right.
I speculate responsibly.
Like that exist.
I know, but
and I'm not. I just want to make it clear that I'm not one of them, because I gave, like, in my notes, nothing is set in stone here. I'm just giving, like, here's something that could happen, here's another thing that could happen, here's a reason why that could happen, here's a reason why that could not happen. I'm just laying out all the groundwork for what doors have just been opened up and what doors have been closed by what we saw today.
Exactly. And honestly, there are two words that excite me more than anything in this franchise. And those words are what if. Because I love to play what ifs in my head regarding Star Wars all the fucking time.
That's actually a cartoon on the Disney Plus.
That will be, actually,
That's
yes.
What I'm saying.
And you know
We're
what?
going to have Marvel what if. Now what if we have Star Wars what if?
Oh, dude.
And just to Case's point, the only thing, like the tiny thing is he's saying, and he's right, okay, it's up to what the filmmakers say. Well, yes, but also just because a character says something in a film, that doesn't make it true.
I was about to say,
filmmakers can have their characters lie or just say something all of the time. It would be impossibly easy.
The original trilogy is built off of a conflicting story about Luke's parentage.
I mean, shit. If I want to make the easiest $20 I'll ever make, I'll put $20 down that they're gonna say in Episode 9 that Kylo lied to Rey in Episode 8, and I'm gonna win that money.
Thought he knew, and he was wrong because he's not all knowing, all powerful anyway. So, and maybe they never touch it again. God only knows. That's the whole point, is that we don't know. But to say, well, that's what the filmmakers wanted, well, we don't know what Rian Johnson was thinking. Maybe he thinks that what's his fucking face is telling the truth, but we have no idea, because the way that Adam Driver even delivers the line is so quick and so like it.
And that's that's where there is that little bit of fun.
He's just trying to burn her. He's just trying to get her nettle out.
No, but when Rey actually acknowledges it's not that Adam Driver or Kylo Ren
says it though.
No. Right. Kylo Ren is like, say it. You know the truth about your parents. That means that he has what's inside his.
Time out.
No.
All right, hold on. Hey.
Can I make my point? Jesus
no.
Christ.
Because I was talking and then Nico wanted to talk.
Plus, here's the thing. I told myself I don't want this show to go over 2 hours, and we got about 20 minutes left on the clock, so I'm going to actually be respectful of everybody's here's time, everybody in the chat's time, and our guests' time. So I want to throw it back to them as we start to go around the table one more time to to just kind of some final things. And I'm sorry if I had to raise my voice. I don't like doing that. My apologies.
The dad.
My apologies to everybody. But that being said, Brothers Adams, let's start this off with you guys. Once we get our tickets available to us, what's the thing that you guys are the most excited for in regards to this movie coming out in December?
Well, part of it is definitely seeing the conclusion to this particular storyline. Part of it, and honestly, like part of it, and I want to bring this up a little bit, is seeing how they're able to still use the footage of Carrie Fisher to be able to continue doing stuff with Leia in this movie, and the kind of conclusion they give to her character as well. That's a huge, huge thing. If I could go off just a second.
Please.
I like the way they did Paul Walker's send-off in the Fast and Furious movies, and so I don't want them to just take Princess Leia and, oh, she's dead, because I feel like that's really kind of rough considering what happened in real life. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how they send the Leia character off, given that she means so much to so many people.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, Robert.
Yeah, pretty much the same. I'm eager for the fact that this is going to kind of like how I guess everyone's been talking about the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame being the culmination of 10, now 11 years of movie making of all one basically cohesive story. The difference is we're talking about ending a story that started back in 1977. That's, even though there hasn't been as many Star Wars movies as there has been MCU, that's still a huge undertaking for it to actually get this far. And I remember as a kid, I remember hearing that George Lucas originally had planned for a prequel and a sequel trilogy, that more than likely it was never going to happen. Here we are on basically the cusp of everything being done, the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, and that's kind of a huge thing as far as this series is gone. This series was already big before the prequel trilogy came out. There really didn't, like, if there was still a Star Wars Celebration right now, it would still be just as popular had that prequel trilogy not come out, much less the sequel trilogy. I think the prequel and sequel trilogies have solidified the fan base of it, but they were still going to be there. The original 3 movies were timeless, but the fact that we actually are achieving the end of this entire saga, that's insane. We're actually hitting it. It's going to be fantastic. I have complete faith in J.J. Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see how this is going to end.
All right. Nico.
So for me, what I'm most curious about, I mean, I've given my thoughts on Rey, but not really enough on Kylo, and also we haven't even really brought him up yet. Palpatine is back, and I'll start off with Kylo. Well, here's the thing: Palpatine has been confirmed to be back. We just don't know in what way. Yeah. Like, like you guys didn't watch the panel, or at least my dedicated to art people didn't watch the panel.
We did the reaction to the panel,
but
instead of just the trailer.
But after the panel, they brought on a couple well-known Star Wars YouTubers, 2 of them being Alex and Molly Damon, and they brought them on stage to sort of break down what we saw in that teaser. And at the part where Palpatine laughs, it's right before what we see before we hear Palpatine laugh is we see the ruins of the second Death Star. And, you know, Alex brings up an interesting point of, like, light side users can turn into Force ghosts when they pass away. Dark side users, on the other hand, they cannot do that, but they can haunt places. They can sort of be like evil spirits that haunt certain places and artifacts. So my thought is, so one of the ways we could go about this is maybe Palpatine is still dead, but his spirit, his soul, is haunting the remnants of that second Death Star. Another way to look at it is anyone who played Battlefront 2 knows for a fact that after the destruction of the second Death Star, there were these last will and testament protocol droids that were sent out to various members of the Empire to give them instructions on what to do. Iden Versio got one of those droids. We don't know if every single person, though, got the same instructions. So for all we know, maybe they're taking a page out of Legends. Maybe someone got a message from one of those droids saying, hey, listen, start making clones of me from the DNA I left behind and start prepping for my return at this point in time. Or option 3, we know Palpatine was a student of Darth Plagueis, and we know Darth Plagueis loved to manipulate the Force to create life. Maybe Palpatine used that power that he learned as he was falling down the shaft of the second Death Star to survive, to sustain himself at the time the second Death Star was blowing up, and that's how he's still here. So there are 3 ways. Those are the 3 most logical ways we can go about how he is back. Now, as for Kylo Ren, Chris, I know you're shipping Reylo very hard, and unfortunately, if this is the last of the Skywalker movies, at least for the next 10 years or so, then we're going to need a conclusive ending, and I feel like I just don't see Kylo Ren being redeemed, and one of the reasons why I say that is, again, going back to the way he's holding his lightsaber, because unlike Ahsoka Tano and Starkiller, Kylo started out holding his lightsaber in a normal position, and now he's holding it in reverse. There's an old kung fu book that I read a couple years ago, and in that book there was a coin with a warrior on both sides of the coin. On one side, she was holding a sword upward. That symbolized that she chose the path of the hero. On the other side, she was holding the sword downward. That symbolized that she was going the path of the villain. Now that Kylo is holding his saber backwards, it symbolizes to me that he's committed to going full villain. And I feel like Rey is going to slaughter him after they've done whatever they need to do with the Knights of Ren or with Palpatine or both. And then going with the Rise of Skywalker, it's going to be the rise of Skywalker's overtaking the mantle of the Jedi and Sith as the main Force-using faction in the galaxy.
Fair enough. And
I don't want him to be redeemed. I don't.
No. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see why is the Death Star remnants, like what are they there for? It's cool to see that Poe was along for the ride, at least at that part of the film, whenever that takes place. The lab obviously is really interesting, and it follows right after Luke's line about no one ever truly being gone. So it was just a really cool looking trailer. It's very well shot, obviously. So I think what I'm most interested to see is just how they choose to resolve this storyline, kind of like Robert was saying. So I like a lot of Nico's theories. I definitely agree with Chris that I don't want him, and Nico, that I don't want him to be redeemed, because it would just kind of like cheapen the effect.
And he killed Han.
Right, exactly. So I have no idea how on earth. But I also agree with Chris that it's going to be very interesting to see how they solve the quote-unquote Leia problem. Because they kind of backed themselves into a corner saying they weren't going to cast anyone else and they weren't going to use CGI. So, if they do only use, let's just say they keep their word and they only use the footage they have, well then what is the footage that they have? We have no idea. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how they manage to solve that. And I think the final thing that I'll say is Hayden Christensen. What's the story there, and how is that going to play in? So I think there's a lot to be told in this story. There's a lot left, but I'm excited. It's Star Wars, and even if it's the worst Star Wars movie I've ever seen for some reason, like that's not going to stop me from loving everything about it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just there's no way that I'm going to stop loving Star Wars. It's just impossible.
Fair enough. Kees, what are some, based on the trailer, what are your overall just hopes for the movie?
It's going to be good. I'm not gonna speculate. You guys said a lot. I don't have a lot to say. So it's gonna be good. I'm gonna love it, and I don't care what anyone says. So yeah, that's it.
Fair enough. And before I completely close this out, I'll just quickly say that. Yeah, no. I mean, I have a lot of stupid speculation, and you want to know something? I'm sure 90% of it's not going to come true. But you want to know something? That's okay. Because that's not going to change how Star Wars has affected my life. It's not going to change how I will forever continue to be enamored by this franchise that, for all intents and purposes, should do next to nothing for me. It's you know, sure, if you want to be that guy who's just like, well, it's just a bunch of movies, what can they possibly do for your life?
It's just a movie. It's just a movie.
You know what? In some regards, that's true. That's correct. That's fair. The difference is, without these movies, I have no sense of creativity. I don't get my imagination. So that's why I can't help it that when I see a trailer, when I see a teaser, all I want to do is speculate. All I want to do is think about the what if. And you know what? It's not for everybody, because some people get carried away with it. Last Jedi haters. Some people get overly carried away with it. Some of the Last Jedi over lovers. You know, and as someone who, you know, wants to look at art as it is, art, sometimes you gotta take the good with the bad. But either way, I'm excited as hell. I am ready for this movie, and I'm ready, and I'm so just, I'm happy. I'm happy we finally got this fucking trailer, and judging from the chat, it looks like you guys are too, and I'm so happy that because as soon as December rolls around, we're all going to be able to talk about it. And I look forward to having that conversation with every single one of you. But until then, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Who Cares Anyway podcast. So, yes, we could have gone for another hour or so, but to be completely honest, we've been going, you know, pretty long in the last few episodes of the show. I didn't want to do that. And plus, we've had a long day as is, and I'm a little tired. So that's kind of the main reason why. So call me a pussy. That's fine. That's fair.
You deserve your sleep.
But so does everybody here. You know, because we all work pretty hard at what we do, and I couldn't be more thankful for what we get to do, which is make videos that just allow us to share our opinion. So starting off with our incredible guests, Robert and Chris Adams. Once again, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show, and tell the good kids where they can find you online.
Well, first and foremost, you can find us on the Cinefanatics channel. Like I said earlier, we just posted our reaction to the trailer as well. We actually did, like I said earlier, we did a reaction to, I guess, the whole celebration panel. I'm actually looking on my screen over here at my brother looking for confirmation, but
we did the reaction to the trailer part of that.
Yeah, so we thought that was great because we didn't know what they were going to throw in there, and especially when was it Ian McDiarmid pops up, that was fantastic time to do a reaction. Yeah. So we did the reaction to that, and like we've mentioned before, we do reactions to the movie trivia Schmodown. We are organizing the fan meetup for the Houston live show that's coming up. We also have a contest currently running on our YouTube channel. We are giving away a pair of VIP tickets. Alice's 10 o'clock show. Go check out our YouTube page, Cinefanatics, for details of how you can get those. We are more than happy to give those away. And I believe, Chris, we're going to see you in Houston, I believe you mentioned.
I should be there. I still have to get a couple things financially figured out, but I should be able to make it there.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, so it's gonna be great. Giving away the two VIPs, the 2 tickets to the 10 o'clock show of Mark Ellis's stand up, and then as far as finding us, you can find us on that YouTube channel. You can find him at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter. Find me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter. You can find us at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter also.
Not to be confused with My Little Pony.
Yeah, no, that stands for Method Living Productions. That's the company that I own that Cinefanatics falls underneath. So,
all right, Kees, where can the good folks find you online?
Right here on Dedicated to Art, hosting the new Game of Thrones recap show that we're going to put up. We are actually reviewing all seasons, Ryan, Irina, and myself, tomorrow. Check that out. And then Season 8 as it comes out. Final season, it's dropping. First episode is Sunday, so look out for the review on Monday. It's going to be exciting. Also, you can find me, Kees Cornelisse, on Facebook and Letterboxd. At Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, and competing over at Multiplex and Full Metal Trivia, Full Metal Geek. Check out my match that dropped. It was pretty good, if I say so myself.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Nico, where can the good folks find you online? No, don't do that version. Don't do that version. Just
share your screen.
Just.
Sorry, I'm trying to save time. Facebook, right. Twitter, YouTube, at Nico Suave Regoli. That's NICOSUAVEREGOLI. Right here on Dedicated to Art and all the places Kees just said and Chris will say. Combat Wrestling Trivia is the name of the Facebook group. Combat Wrestling Network is the name of the YouTube channel. At Combat Wrestling, the number 2 is the poorly made Twitter handle. If you like wrestling trivia, come find us over there. Also check out Adonis Nazario and James Berryman III's weekly discussion show called The Raw and SmackDown Breakdown every Wednesday afternoon. Multiplex Entertainment is the name of the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. The Twitter is at MultiplexYT. The Instagram is Multiplex Entertainment Network. The TeePublic is tpublic.com/user/multiplex. Buy our awesome shirts. Zaddy Smith and I host a weekly Inner Geekdom style discussion show called Crisis on Earthplex every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So go check that out as well. And yeah, I think I blew through everything.
Zaddy Smith. That name sounds familiar.
Oh boy.
He's actually a good guy and a very intelligent person on music trivia.
And didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Didn't make any mistakes.
He's a great human being.
Even though, now that I can finally announce this, sorry, Nico, but I intend to take him down, whether you want me to or not.
I already did that. It's not that difficult.
Ooh.
Fuck off, Kees.
Wow.
Ooh, ouch. And Ryan, where can the good folks find you online?
You can find me here talking some Game of Thrones, boys. We're so close. Yeah, Kees, Irina, and we had a lot of fun talking about it, and that will be going up. And yes, finally, oh my gosh, Season 8 is here. It's going to be amazing. Can't wait to talk about it. Hopefully I don't cry. And besides that, you can find me right here on Dedicated to Art, and also on Twitter at Clan McLellan, and Instagram, Vintage Sights and Sounds.
Awesome.
I take pictures. Go look at them.
He does take pictures. They look pretty nice. Go check them out.
Thanks.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, and Letterboxd at Skywalker Dohmen. You guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D28 Channel. Please like our Facebook page. And yeah, stay tuned for our upcoming Game of Thrones recap, which sadly I'm not going to be part of because I'm not caught up. I'm sorry. But please go watch our Schmodown reaction to the triple threat match that just dropped. Oh my god. And go check our Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker trailer reaction. It's incredible. But of course,
/ freak out.
Yeah, and freak out. Yeah, that sums it up pretty well. But from everybody here at Dedicated Art, I wish only one thing of you guys. Take care.
Yeah.